Thank you very much, Pastor Greg, and thank you for the kind introduction. It's a real honor for me to be here today with you to share a message that God placed in my heart over 13 years ago. I hope that my words will be an inspiration to you all as you go through your own tragedies in life. The date was July 29, 2001, and I was racing go-karts at Toledo Speedway. And I was involved in a very serious go-kart racing accident. My back of my go-kart hit the concrete wall so hard that drove my disc brake to the back of my seat. I slowed out of my go-kart. I broke off almost all my ribs. All my spinous processes in my back were broken. There was blood running into my left lung. And I unfortunately had injured my spine. I had severed my spinal cord at the level of my umbilicus or my belly button. And I was laying on that track, fighting for my life, and wondering if I was going to live and what my future was going to hold for me. So in a matter of 5 seconds, I went from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the valley, not knowing what tomorrow was going to hold. So what was my life really like before that day? I truly was on top of the mountain. I was one of the most busiest and most respected OB/GYN physicians in southeastern Michigan. I'd done over 11,000 deliveries at that time, and probably had delivered some of you or some of your family. I was doing between 10 and 15 gynecological surgeries every week. I was the program director of one of the best OB/GYN residency programs in the state of Michigan, and it was recognized throughout this country. I had a beautiful wife and 2 children. I also had the opportunity of going to Haiti for 3 years in a row before my accident. I was over there treating the poorest of the poor. And I can tell you what an honor it was to be over there doing surgery and deliveries on those Haitian women and also telling them about Jesus. I can still see their eyes and I can still see their smiles. And to be honest with you, oh, how I wish I could go back to Haiti. The other thing I was doing, I was racing go-karts at Toledo Speedway on Sundays afternoon for 3 years. I'm very competitive and wanted to win. And I had the opportunity of winning almost every one of my races until that particular day. So as the ambulance was taking me to St. Vincent's Hospital, and I was placed in neuro ICU, I was frightened. I was scared. I had no idea what was going to happen to me or whether I was going to live or not. So during that time in neuro ICU for 2 days, I was unconscious. And my God, and I hope that your God, knew that I was in trouble. He knew I was hurting. So he told me, he says, David, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to carry you when you can't walk. I'm going to pick you up when you fall. And I'll utilize you to glorify me. So friends, I don't know if you've ever had that experience before or not, but it's sure a great experience to know that the greatest man of all time was by my side. I didn't know whether I was going to live or die, but God was reassuring me that no matter what happened, he was going to be with me. After 2 days, I decided to wake up and walked my wife and my 2 children and a neurosurgeon by the name of Dr. McCormick. I had no idea where I really was at, and I didn't really know how injured I was. And Dr. McCormick looked at me and says, David, he says, I have some sad news to tell you. You were involved in a major go-kart racing accident 2 days ago, and you've had multiple injuries. But the most severe injury was that your spine was severed at the level of your umbilicus, and you're never going to walk again for the rest of your life. Now just think of that. I had no idea where I was at. I had no idea how injured I was. And I had this neurosurgeon telling me that there was no hope, that I would never walk again. What would you have done? Would you start crying? Would you start screaming? Would you say, it really can't be? Would you ask your God, why me? Or would you look to the neurosurgeon and said, there surely is hope, isn't there? So what did I say? I looked at Dr. McCormick and said, it looks like I have a new challenge in life, doesn't it? And he looked at me and he said, Dr. Wolf, I don't think you understood what I said. I said, no, Dr. McCormick, you didn't understand what I said. See, God was already using me, wasn't he? He was already using me to glorify him, and his promise was already there that he was telling me that he was going to give me all the love and all the grace that I needed to make it through this tragedy in my life. And he was hoping that people would see how I was responding. So after 2 weeks, I was transferred to the Rehabilitation Institute of Michigan, or REM. It's a rehab hospital in Detroit. And I was there for 4 weeks. And friends, I can tell you it was the hardest 4 weeks of my life. The first week was absolutely unbelievable. I was so tired that I could barely get back in bed after rehab. I was fainting 2 or 3 times a day because my blood pressure was so low. I was struggling with my identity. I had no idea whether or not I was ever going to be a physician again. And that was important to me. All my life, since I was in the 4th grade, I dreamed about being a physician. And now I did not know if I was going to be one or not. But the most difficult thing for me was my dignity. My dignity was slipping away. I had difficulty controlling my bowels, not only in my room, but when I was in rehab. I would look down and my pants might be wet because I was losing my urine. And I don't know about you, but that was very, very tough for me. And after that first week, I just didn't think I could go on any longer. I didn't think I could press on. I didn't think I had enough energy to make it. And one night I yelled out to God and I said, God, how could this be? You told me 2 weeks ago that you were going to be with me. You told me 2 weeks ago that you were going to cure me when I couldn't walk. That you were going to pick me up when I fell. And where are you? I'm falling apart. I'm losing my identity. I'm losing my dignity. And I don't know if there's going to be a tomorrow. So friends, that night I literally cried and prayed myself to sleep. And I woke up the next day and things were different. I wasn't as tired. I wasn't fainting as much. I was still having problems with my bowels and urination, but for some reason it didn't bother me as much. So what's the difference? The difference is that Jesus does listen to our prayers, doesn't he? He was just waiting for me to grab a hold of his hand. He was waiting for me to ask him for his love and for his grace. So don't forget that. He doesn't always reach out to you like he did when I was in neuro ICU. He wants you to hold on to him. So why do you think I'm here today? Why do you think God wanted me to tell this story? Why do you think he wanted me to write a book, The Gift Is You? I can tell you why. Because unfortunately, all of you are going to go through tragedies too. Some in this room may be going through a divorce. Some may have children that are on drugs. Some of you may be having financial problems. Some of you may be depressed. Or some of you just may not want to go on any longer. So he wants you to see me, a person that was on the top of the mountain that fell to the bottom of the valley in 5 seconds, but yet still had that twinkle in his eye. He wants you to know that that twinkle could be in your eye also. If you just reach out to him in your time of troubles, if you believe that he's going to give you all the grace that you need when you're going through tragedy. He's told this story before, hasn't he? He told this story in Job. He gave Job all the grace he needed, didn't he? He told the story in Paul. Look at Paul. All the tragedy that he went under, but yet Paul never gave up on his God. He's also telling the story today in Jeremiah. So friends, if you're a Christian and having difficulties, I would suggest that you go home today and get down on your knees and ask Jesus Christ, the greatest person that ever walked this world. Ask Jesus Christ to help you. Reach out to him and he'll grab your hand. Ask him to give you his love and his grace. And he will do it to you the same as he did it to me. And if you're not a Christian in this room, and I would imagine there's somebody in here that's struggling with your Christianity. If you're not a Christian in this room, listen to this message. Because tomorrow may never come. You may too be in an accident and may be struggling. So I would suggest that you give your life to Jesus Christ today because he's waiting on you. He wants to hold your hand. He wants to give you his love. And he wants to give you his grace. So friends, I'm not here today to sell my book, The Gift Is You. But I am here to sell the words that God placed in that book. Because he's the one that wrote it. He's the one that told the stories about one of his children, David. I also want you to know that all the net proceeds are not coming to me. Why should they come to me? I didn't write it. So they're going to 2 very special charities. One charity is a Northwest Haiti Christian mission where I spent 3 years of my life and those Haitian people. I can't go back there, but God wanted us to give the money to help those individuals. And the other charity is the Bond Ministries. Has a special place in my heart. But this is the ministry of the Congo. You won't believe this, but 18,000 Africans every year receive Jesus Christ in their hearts because of that mission. So I wanted the money to go to that too. So I really appreciate you listening to my message today. I hope that it's been an inspiration to you as you go through your own tragedies. And God bless you all for being here today. Thank you.